quick look at company dividends, particularly in light of the current COVID-19 crisis. Firstly, a very brief overview of the law. There's no general rule at law that a company is obliged to distribute its profits to members. However, of course, many commercial companies exist to make profits for their members, and therefore there is an expectation that members will receive dividends from the companies in which they have invested. Certain types of companies are actually prohibited from making and paying dividends, such as charitable companies and community interest companies. It's generally for the directors to determine the amount and timing of dividends, whether on their own account or with the approval of shareholders. Two types of dividend, an interim dividend and a final dividend. An interim dividend relates to part of an accounting period. This type of dividend needs no approval from shareholders, and the directors therefore can resolve to make payment of an interim dividend and set both the timing of that and the amount of that dividend. Contrast that to a final dividend, where the dividend itself is actually declared by the shareholders following the recommendation of the directors. So the directors will recommend the amount of the dividend and the timing of payment of that, and the shareholders will then be asked effectively to approve and ratify that recommendation. There's an important distinction between an interim dividend and a final dividend in terms of when the debt due to the shareholder actually crystallizes, i.e. when can the shareholder enforce the payment by the company of the dividend. In the case of an interim dividend, the shareholder only has a debt due to it on the date that the amount of the dividend is actually paid to it. Contrast that to a final dividend, where the shareholder is owed that money by the company, either on the date that the resolution of shareholders is passed, or if later, the date set out in that resolution for the payment of the dividend. So that's a very important distinction, because in a final dividend scenario, the shareholder can sue the company for payment before that payment has actually been made. And that's particularly relevant in the current circumstances.